this is the plan as we pretty much we didn't quite leave the plan in this state that I have here. After class, I went along, I went ahead and finished up the plan. The one thing that I did do, let me open up my layers palette here, is for our walls, for our partition walls, I changed the color. It was too close to color 113 for the other walls, so I changed it to 161, which was just made it look a little more, able to see it well. All right. The first thing that I want to do is, because this is going to be more than just our partition plan, and in the final analysis at the very end, we're going to have some more tabs here for our furniture and ceilings, etc. I'm going to rename this, or I'm going to do a save as here and call this our office plan. So I'm already here in my project 10 folder. And rather than call this partition plan, I'm going to call this, I'll just call this the office plan, which is more all-encompassing here. So now I've got my office plan, and I'm going to table that and put it aside for a moment. And I started a drawing here, but I'm going to just start a new one. So I'm just going to go to Start and go to our COD Interiors template, F23. And I'm going to start a brand new AutoCAD document. And before I forget, I'm going to save this thing. So right here, I'm going to call it my name underscore, and I'm going to call this furniture plan. Okay. So now I've got our office plan, and we have a brand new furniture plan, nothing on it. So what I want to do, let's just say I'm a furniture dealer here, and your architectural or your interior design firm or architecture firm has sent me your floor plan and said, lay out some furniture for me. So the first thing I need to do is to be able to see your floor plan in my drawing. So I am going to XREF into my fresh drawing here, this office plan drawing. But before I do that, I want to be aware of layer management. So I'm going to go over to my layer properties, and I'm going to put my XREF on its own layer. So I'm going to create a new layer, and I will call this XREF office plan. All right, XREF office plan, because that's the office plan that we're going to bring in. So I'm going to make it the current layer, and I'm just going to double click on the little icon there, get that green checkbox, and then just close this. So I've got XREF office plan as my current layer. Okay, good. So we've got our XREF office plan layer current, and now I'm going to bring the XREF of our office plan into our drawing. So there's two ways to do it, just like always in AutoCAD. There is a command line, which is called attach, to attach a reference. And there is, I can go to the insert ribbon here, and then right here under reference, there is a button called attach. Both do exactly the same thing. Most of the time when I'm inserting an XREF, I just type right at the command line down here, attach, just because I don't know, this is just a little more cumbersome to me. But I'm right here, so I'll just click on it. So now we get a reference file to, it's asking me to select a reference file. And so what you need to do is go to wherever it is that you're saving your drawings and find the office plan, which is right there. And then I'm going to click open. And now I get a attach external reference dialog box here. And it's got a little thumbnail of it, and that looks right. So I'm happy about that. And I need to decide how to attach this as either an attachment or an overlay. And we'll talk about both today. But for now, what an attachment does is it attaches the XREF and any other XREFs that might be attached to the XREF, if that makes any sense. But we'll talk about the difference a little more later on. So right now, I'm just going to choose attachment. And the scale, I don't want to touch that. I want it to be full scale. So this will be 1, 1, and 1. And the insertion point, we're just going to bring in at 0, 0, 0. So I'm not going to check this box, and I'm not going to check that box. The path type, I can either have no path, relative path, or full path. And that is how detailed where AutoCAD is going to look for that XREF when I bring in my furniture plan. So when I open up my furniture plan, AutoCAD's going to say, aha, Paul's got an XREF attached to it. Where is it? And it's going to look for it. But I'm going to just choose relative path, which allows AutoCAD to sort of store in its own memory where my office plan file is. I'm not going to rotate this. We'll leave the block units as they are, and I'll just hit OK. And voila, there is my XREF. Now, right down here, I have a little message that says unreconciled new layers. And what that is when I bring an XREF into AutoCAD, there are new layers. There are layers that are in my office plan that are not in my furniture plan. And what AutoCAD is doing is it's warning me that I have them, or not even warning me, it's just alerting me. But I'm just going to close this, and we'll talk about this a little later some more. But for now, I'm just going to close this. Okay, so there is my XREF. It looks exactly like my floor plan. And well, not quite exactly. If I go over to my office plan here, and let me go back to model space here. So there is my office plan in my office plan file. And when I brought it into my furniture plan, you notice that it's a little bit grayed out, isn't it? So if I go over to my insert tab and go to reference down here, I can control my XREF fading, and mine is set to 40 right here, 40% faded. And the higher the fading, if I make this, bring this, up, the more faded it is. So it depends on how you want to use this. If you're going to just use this as a reference and you just kind of want to see it in the background for whatever it is you're going to do, you might want to increase the fading. Or if you want to see it at full strength, you can come down to 0 here, and then 0 means there's no fading and it looks just like the regular. But I generally like to leave mine at 40%. So I'm just going to bring this down, and I think I can type 40. Yeah, I can. So 40 or 50%, that is, I can see it. It's grayed out a little bit in the background. Now, if I click on, like this wall or something, the whole file is attached, right? I can't just click on a wall or a line or a dimension here. Everything is attached. It's all or nothing. So I'm not going to be editing the plan at all when I am working on the XREF. I'm just adding things like, in this case, furniture, or next week, lighting or ceilings. So the plan is just going to stay where it is. And you know what I noticed just now? I didn't intend this, but I noticed that I'm missing a wall here. And I think that wall is right at this corner. I'm missing a door. So this is a perfect opportunity to show you what happens when you edit the plan. So I'm going to go back over to my office plan here. And let me go on to my partitions layer. And I think I've shown you already the Make Current button right here. And if I click on it, I can just choose an object, and it will, whatever the layer that object is, it will make that layer current. And it's a really nice tool. I use it lots and lots of times. So I'm just going to quickly offset 5 inches, and I don't exactly remember where the door is, but I'm going to assume there. Do I have a door somewhere already? I do. So let me just copy this door. I don't want to take a lot of time doing this, but but this is an ideal example to show you all. Okay, so there, and I'm just going to trim this out, I think. I'll just use a fence there. All right, lovely. So there is my revised floor plan with that wall and that door added. And then I'm going to save my drawing. So I've just saved my office plan. And then I'm going to go back to my furniture plan. And I have a message. And it says an XREF was modified. And sure enough, Paul Gongola Project 10 office plan, and it is asking me if I want to reload it. So if I click on this, it will reload the modified plan. And then there is below it a little checkbox that says compare the changes. I usually have this not checked, but I am going to check it just so you can see what it will do. So I'm going to check on compare the changes, and then I'll just click on this link to reload my office plan here. So I'm going to click on it, and there you can see it's drawn the little revision bubbles here, and not to the right scale, but it's showing me in green here the new wall that I added, and that these lines were modified, they were trimmed, and this red is indicating the part that was trimmed, and then I added this new door. So it's just giving me, if you got a big plan and somebody modified the plan and you come back and you're like, what's the change? This is nice and handy to just show whoever is reloading your drawing where the changes are. So I'm just going to click the little check button here. And there, sure enough, is the change to our XREF here. And I now have the unreconciled new layers button, or the message here. So let me just click on this. It says view unreconciled new layers, and I'm just going to click on it. And you're going to see a whole bunch of layers. Well, right now this is an unreconciled layers, but let me just go to all here. This is the way that we're used to seeing our our layer properties palette here. And these are all of the layers that we've been using so far. And now you'll see a bunch of new layers. And these layers are named a little differently than these layers here. They start with the file name. And my file name here for my office plan is Paul Gongola Project 10 office plan. And you see that all of these layers are prefaced with the file name. And then there's a vertical bar, and then the layer the layer name in the drawing. And there is a thing here for unreconciled new layers. And I'm just gonna left click or right click. Left click and click and then hold. Yeah, I'm holding shift to select all of these layers. These are all of my unreconciled layers. And again, all this means is that AutoCAD is telling me, hey, there's some new layers in your drawing and you haven't looked at them. I just want you to know that they're there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click and say reconcile layers, right about a quarter of the way down. And let me reconcile this one too, for some reason. Okay, so now you'll notice that unreconciled layers is now off of this little tree here. So let me just switch back to my office plan here. So here we have, we've never even talked about this tree here. This has just always been set to all, and these have been our layers, and everything's been hunky-dory with that. But when I go now with my XREF, I now have some other additional stuff here. There is my XREF here, and if I have more than one XREF loaded into my drawing, they would list down here. And if I want to just look at the layers for that XREF, I'll just click on this, and those are the layers for it. If I want to look at all of my layers, I can just click here, and you can see all of the layers, including the XREF layers. If I want to see all non-XREF layers, those are just the layers that are in my drawing. I can click on that, and all of the XREF layers have been, they've disappeared. And then all used layers, these are layers that actually have things on them. And because sometimes there's layers that, we don't have anything on them. So that's what all used layers is. Now I'm just going to go to all, because for now I just want to see all of my layers. So why are these even in here? Well, I can't add anything to these layers. But what I can do is I can change the appearance of these layers. So I can change the properties here, like the color or the line type, or even the line weight of those layers. So I can, later come back here and edit those those properties. Let's just see, here's my partition layer here, and it's set to 161. But I could, if I want, change it to, I'll change it to this. I'll change it to red, just for giggles. And you know what? Let's just change the line type here. I'll change it to hidden too. Oops, sorry. And close this, and let me regenerate. Oh, let me do my MSLT scale. Model space, line type, scale. Set it to 1. And then regen. So, there may be a reason that I might want to do that, but that does give us the ability to do that. I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to undo here and try to get back to. There we go. And let me just try MSLT scale kit. And this is just a reminder, if you want to see those dashed lines or whatever, when you are in model space, black model space, the command is MS for model space, LT, line type, and scale. And it's a toggle. It's either on or off. And 0 means off, and 1 means on. It's like in machine language. So I'm going to change mine to 1, and then I can regenerate my drawing, REGEN, and hit enter. And I don't have any dashed lines on here, so it's not going to really do anything. But that is just a reminder that you can change the visibility. If your dashed lines like mine weren't showing up, you can use MSLT scale. That's a good command. Have it in your notebook or in the back of your mind, and just remember it forever until AutoCAD wises up and just by default turns it on, but they don't. So, okay. So let's start putting in some furniture. Before I do that, let me bring in this furniture plan. So this furniture plan was made a couple years ago, but I think it's going to serve its purpose. So we've got 2 kinds of furniture here. Well, we've got really just one kind of furniture. We have got systems furniture, workstations, and we've got desks and conference tables and stuff like that. And then shown here in cyan, we have some built-in millwork. The case goods or millwork. There's a credenza in this conference room. The president's office has this crazy credenza back here. What else? There's some in this green room down here. There is shelves and a countertop here. What else? We've got a huge amount of counter space in this break room. It's just crazy how big it is. And what else? We've got a reception desk over here, and then some workrooms over here that have some case millwork as well. So we're going to show those as well in this plan. All right, what else do I have here? I've got, I went and printed this out, and then I wrote in what this stuff was, because my goodness, it was just really hard to figure out what each one of these pieces of systems furniture, these workstations were. So I called them out here: Touchdown Lounge, two-seat lounge group, Brody chairs, blah 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 blah. So this hopefully will be a good reference for you as you are plopping in all of your furniture. And I'm not going to go through every single piece of furniture tonight, but I'll go through hopefully the major components. What else have I got? I drew a reception desk, and this is the dimensions for the reception desk here. So when we get to the reception desk here, we'll reference this. And what else have I have? Oh, this is just a quick little overlay of some of the basic XREF commands. And we're talking about this, so I don't know how much use you're gonna get out of that. But so let me go to this and let me put it on my other screen. And let me think about layers. So when I'm doing my furniture, wait, let me do this. I'm gonna go to all non-XREF layers here, and I just want to view these at least for now. And I'm just setting this to all non-XREF layers, and I'm gonna close this. And then when I go down here, it's not going to show the XREFs here. I don't know if you noticed, but before when I did the pull down here, it was showing all of the XREF layers as well. But for now, I'm not interested in those. So I have a furniture layer, and I also have millwork here. So we're going to be using those two layers here. So I'm going to switch to iFurn right here. Interiors, furniture. And I'm going to place my furniture on that layer. Okay, so let me open up my blocks palette and go over to, I think I've got an office. If I just click on office and then hit open, I think, and yeah, yes, these. So this is the office furniture that I was just showing you before I started recording. That was in Blackboard. So I've got them here. Hopefully you have them in your 2D blocks. I think that you probably will, but if you don't, it's not a big deal. Just go into Blackboard and copy those into your 2D blocks. Okie doke. So let me zoom in a little bit here. And I don't even know where to start. I think I'll start in the president's office over here. All right. So the president's got a desk here and has a great big custom credenza back here. And that credenza has 4-foot lengths back here. This is the length of this credenza is 4 feet and 4 feet here. And then we'll connect the dots or connect the two ends. But that's not on the furniture layer. So I'm going to go over to my millwork layer. So I'm going to go to a mill and just go to my line tool. And I'm going to just draw this line 4 feet long. And then I'm going to do it over here too. So let me double check my settings here. I've got my O snaps on, and let me just make sure I've got my snap set. Endpoint, midpoint, center, yes. Quadrant, intersection, yes. Insertion and perpendicular. Those are the basics. Those are the necessities that you want to always have. And I am also going to be using my polar tracking. That's that 27 degrees. We're going to be using that a lot today. Mine's set to 297, but any one of these four, I think, will get you what you need for today's session. So I'm just leaving mine at 297. I don't know why. I usually put on 27, but that's fine. All right, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to find that 117 degrees in this case, and I'm going to O track, or not O track, but I'm just going to draw a line 4 feet long. So there it is. I've got this line is 4 feet, that line is 4 feet, and then I'm just going to connect the two endpoints, and there it is. There is my credenza. Okay, great. So now let's look at this president's office furniture. And actually, this is all the systems furniture. This is out in the open office space. So, but the office stuff is hidden away somewhere else. And let me just see if I can find it. Is it in here? Oh, bear with me. Oh, goodness gracious, embarrassing. I should know where it is. I really should. It's not in there. Let me go back to office. Office fixtures, is that where it is? No. Oh gosh, guys. Project 10 furniture blocks. Oh, there it is. Okay, so it's in, so it's Project 10 furniture blocks. Sorry about that. So in my office folder, Project 10 furniture blocks, hit open, and we've got credenzas, we've got desks, we've got chairs, lateral files, all the stuff that we need for this project. All right, so I'm going to give the president a great big desk, and I've got two sizes, a desk 3060 and a desk 3675. So remember that when you see, and this is very, very common when you are specifying furniture, you'll see the desk or credenza or whatever it is, and then you'll see a number behind it. And that number signifies the dimensions of the piece of furniture. So in this case, it's 30 by 60, or in this case, it's 36 by 75. Here's a credenza that's 20 inches by 72 inches. So whenever you see that, you know how to read that now, and you will in your career. You'll see this kind of stuff all the time. All right, so I'm just going to pick this desk 3675, and I'm just going to pull it in. It's on the wrong layer, but that's fine. I'll change it later. Oh, what the heck? I'll just do it right. So let me just go to my furniture layer, my iFurniture layer, and I'm going to bring that desk in. So what I could do is I can bring it in, and then I want to align it so that it's the same angle as this back wall, the credenza. So I could eyeball this, right? But there's a way to get it exact, and I'll show it to you now. So I'm going to click on this, and rather than put the desk out here, for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the start point right here, right at this corner. And now I can come down and snap to the endpoint or the midpoint of this line, and it will align that desk exactly at the right angle of that back line of the credenza. So now I can move this desk, and I'm going to move it from the midpoint to the midpoint of the credenza. And now I can just move it out. I guess, I don't know. I'm going to bring it out exactly that much. Kind of using the eyeball method here. All right. I want to add a desk here, a chair here. I'm going to use this executive chair here. And the same thing. So I'm going to start right at the midpoint. And then I will snap somewhere along this line. And I'll just snap right here, right to this endpoint. And it rotated that desk chair exactly so it's parallel with my desk. It's really nice. And then I'm just going to bring this back just a little bit. I generally like to leave a little bit of space there. And then I've got two side chairs. So I'll do, the side chair, I think I'll do a little bit differently. I mean, you could do that, but I'm gonna kind of put it at, a little bit of an angle here. A little more casual, maybe. And then to match this, I'll never get the same angle on this side, symmetrical. So I'm going to use mirror. So I will just mirror this chair, and I'll start at the midpoint, and I'll go to the midpoint of there. Erase source objects, no thank you. And there I got my desk. And if I'm not liking the way it's placed, if I want to move it a little bit, out further, I can do that, no problem. All right. I don't know, some chairs and stuff like that there. I wanted to show you this because this is the tricky part here. Since we're on case goods, let's just do one of these offices. So in here, I have a credenza, and I will just use this 20 by 72 credenza. And I can just, this I can line up, I think. Well, no, you know what? I'll do the same thing here. So credenza, I'll just choose point there and then that endpoint. So that's right on that angle. And when I'm showing case goods, I do not want, even though I want the case goods, I may want the case goods actually against the wall. I don't want to show it attached to the wall. I always want to leave 2 inches or some little gap graphically. And the reason is that helps to distinguish to whoever is reading my drawing the difference between case goods, furniture, and built-ins like this built-in credenza, which actually attaches to the wall here. So that is just a rule of thumb. Whenever you have, it doesn't matter what it is, credenza, desk, bed, any piece of furniture that is you're going to actually bring into the room, don't show it actually butted up against the wall. And in real life, generally speaking, you don't want to do that anyway because it will, mark the wall. So I'll just add this little desk here. And I will move that so that it is right at the midpoint of that credenza. And I'll move this out. Let me put my polar tracking on here. That'll allow me to move this out some decent amount. And then I've got 2 side chairs, and these I will just put. I'm going to do this thing again here. And then I'll just mirror that. And then I need an executive chair for this office. Okay, so that's too tight, isn't it? So let me just move this back. Awesome. So let's see. I've got it over here too. So at this point, what I can do is I can just grab this and I'll just use as my base point, like the corner of the room. And then where does it go? It goes pretty much here, corner of the room there. And there's another one over here. This one kind of moves up a little bit because whoever this person is, it's probably an exec or something, and has some chairs over here. So I'm not going to add those chairs now, but all right. I have a conference table over here, and it's an 8-foot diameter conference table. So I'll just use a circle, and so when I'm drawing a circle, it's asking for the radius. So the radius would be 4 feet. And then I'll just use, I don't know, I'll use this generic chair here for here. Oops. Going to move this straight up again, just a little bit. Let me put my polar on to go straight up and down. And then I will array this. So just as a review array, I'm going to do a polar array. And I'll just come down here to polar array. It's asking me to select the objects, just that chair. And the center point of the array will be the center point of the chair, table. And I don't know how many, I don't know how many there are there. I'll just say 10. I don't know, probably 12. I don't know. You count, but I'm just going to leave it like that. And then I have another credenza back here. So I'll just go with my line tool. But of course, this is millwork, isn't it? It's not case goods or regular furniture. So I need to put that on my millwork layer. And I can do that by either selecting it and click on the millwork, or I can use match properties. So I'm going to use match properties because I've got that millwork over here. Click on it and change that to the millwork layer. All right, let's get into the good stuff over here. So the first one I'm going to do here is this 6-pack benchmarking. So again, let me go and find, I'm just going to click on Office here and then click Open. Okay, so here's my 6-pack benchmarking workstation, and I'm going to grab it. And actually, before I grab it, let me just make sure that I have rotation, because I'm going to rotate these, almost all of these are going to be rotated on that 27 degrees. So I'm going to make sure that rotation is checked. And I'm going to go back onto my polar tracking here so I can, again, be on that 27-degree increment. Okay. Benchmarking. And it goes somewhere right over here, and it gets rotated along that 27 degrees, more or less like that. All right, so let's talk about these workstations for a moment. So when you've got workstations, 99.9% of the time, you want to have power to them, right? You're going to have a laptop or a computer, or maybe a phone or calculator or something. Like, you want to be able to plug stuff in, right? So we got to bring power to these workstations. And in this 6-pack, by the way, these are, so the terminology in the industry is when there's like 6 workstations all joined together like there are here, they'll call that a 6-pack. Or if there's 8 workstations, it's an 8-pack or a 10-pack. If over at the school, in the one studio that's got workstations, I think there's 2 10-packs in that classroom. So there's 2, rather than 2 rows of 3 here, there's 2 rows of 5 in that classroom. So the middle works panel here that's running along where I'm running my cursor right now. That panel or set of panels are generally electrified. There is power running in those panels, and that allows you to have outlets for each one of these workstations so you can plug stuff in your laptop or whatever it is. So what we need to do, though, is we need to bring power to the workstation. So when you're locating workstations, generally speaking, you want to try to locate them near walls or columns or something like that, where you can have power coming in from the building and then whip or go into the workstations. So this workstation here, this workstation grouping here, is near this column. So what would happen is the electrician would bring power down from within this column here. And then there would be a cable that literally comes out of the wall, out of the column, and goes into the workstation. And you'll see that cable, and it's just there along the ground that goes right in. And that's called a WHIP, WHIP. So that is how this group of workstation are powered. Now, sometimes it's next to a wall, and then you can bring in power from the wall. But sometimes it's just free floating. It's not near anything. And when that's the case, then you have to do one of two things. You either need to have a power pole, which is just it comes down from the ceiling, like right here in one corner of the workstation 6-pack or 8-pack or whatever it is. It comes down from the ceiling. So the power comes down from above the ceiling tiles down into the spine of the workstation panels and powers it that way. And I'm not gonna mince words. I hate them. They're ugly. They're just ugly, right? And as a designer, I just don't really I don't like them. But sometimes you have to use them because they're cheap and your client is cheap or your landlord is cheap, so you have to use them. The other option is to drill a hole literally through the floor. So you literally have a hole in the floor, and then you go to the floor below and then thread up through the hole the power that way. And then it comes up through the floor in one corner of the workstations. Again, if you go to 3019 or what, I can't think of the room number over at the school where the workstations are, and you look at the very first workstation by the door, just go over to it whenever you get there and stick your head underneath the desk, and you'll see in the corner there is a thing coming up through the floor, and you'll see the whip. It's going and it goes right into the workstation panel, and then is powering the rest of the workstations. So that's how they're powered. So as we as designers are trying to lay out furniture, we do our darndest to try to locate those furniture pieces near a column or a wall or someplace where we can bring power to it. But sometimes you can't do it, and then you have to, it's not cheap drilling a hole through the floor. And so that is why we try not to do it if we can get away with it. All right, blah blah blah. I know I'm talking a lot here. So let's copy this. And I've got another one. I'm just looking at the handout here to sort of help me. I got another one over here, I think, yeah. And so I'm just going to move this up close. I don't want to touch the column again. I just want to come close to it. So what would happen here is the power would come down in the column, and then it would whip into the side panel here, and then run through the side panel to the main spine, and then come along the spine to power all 6 of these workstations. That's how that would work. Okay, what else? I've got some touchdown seating that is over here. So, you know what I didn't do? I didn't show you what the stuff looks like, because it actually is helpful to see what this stuff looks like. And I think I've got, yeah, here it is. So, all right. So these are Brody chairs, and we're going to be putting these in later on, and they have this cute little footrest. And it's just, if you're like hoteling, I don't know if you know what that means, but sometimes people don't have a desk because they're only in the office once a week or something, and they need a place to sort of touch down and do work while they're in the office, and most of the time they're out in the field. So that's the purpose of these Brody chairs, and they're actually kind of cute, and And this is the 6-pack that we were talking about. So that we were just placing in. And here is that electrified spine back here. What else? I'm not sure. These are some more tables here that have stuff on them. These are private conferencing rooms, and I'll show you those in a minute when we get to those. And they've got sliding glass doors. So a lot of times when you have an open office configuration, and that's what this is, open office is just workstations, and there's a moderate amount of privacy here between over the workstation panels, but sometimes you need to have a really private conversation, or maybe you're on a phone call that is heated or whatever. Then there are these little private conference rooms, and they've got a sliding door, and they're not soundproof, but they have some sound qualities that insulate your loud voice from the rest of the office. So that's what these are. There's another example of them. These happen to have swing doors. The others had sliders. And what else? This is the over here. This is the touchdown seating that we're going to be placing right now. And really, all it is banquette seating, and then it has some tables and some chairs. So it's a great place to do some collaboration. And if you need to bump two or three of these tables together to get in a larger group to collaborate on something as you're working, that's there's some flexibility in doing that. I think that's just another example of them. And conference seating, and this is teleconferencing. So there is 2 monitors up here, and if you need to, and then there's, I don't know if the camera's up here or down here or someplace, and you're teleconferencing with another office or another location. That's what this is all about over here. Okay, just so you know what the heck this furniture kind of looks like. All right, I'm going to put this back here and go to my notes, and I'm going to do that touchdown seating over here. So let me see if I can find it. Here it is. So here it is, and I'm going to put it at that 27-degree angle. There it is. It's snapping right to it. Good. And so it's got some workstation panels around it. And I want 2 of them. So I'm going to bring in another one here and rotate this one. So what I don't want to do is I don't want them back to back like this, because it's just a silly expense to have panels here, workstation panels here, and workstation panels right next to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlap these so that there's only going to be one set of workstation panels here. So I'm just going to move this one, and I think I can use these little connecting doohickeys here, align those. So there we go. So there it is. And actually, I will just move both of these close to this column here, so that in fact you can a lot of times these touchdown underneath the banquette seating here, a lot of times there will be outlets, either a duplex outlet or USB outlets. You may have seen them if ever you go to Neocon or the Merchandise Mart and you're looking at Systems Furniture. You'll very often will see that, so that as you're working and you're on your laptop, you can plug in, right? So that's why I've got this close to this column, so we can whip into the panels here. All right, and then I have these are called away spaces, and those are those panels that I was talking about, or not panels, but the those soundproof or sound resistant boxes, conference boxes there that you can go in and do whatever private conferencing that you need to do. So we've got those, and we need another set of them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put them here, and the reason I'm doing that is I want to align them. I want them both to be in line of the same plane. And I can see that I did this wrong because as I move this closer to this column here, because I need to whip in here, you can see the door is in front of the column. So whoops, that's not going to work, is it? So let me erase that. Let's do it again. So I guess I'll rotate it like this. And now what I can do is I'll just grab a corner and align it with corner here. So these are the doors that are sort of sticking out of the panels, I believe. And then I will just carefully move this along the 27 degrees so everything is lined up right up to the column so I can whip in to this and bring power into these rooms. Okay, that is pretty good. I think what else do I have? I've got a 4-station a 4-pack here, someplace here. And this is actually not going to be at any columns. So this is an instance where they're going to have to go downstairs to the tenant below, and they're going to have to go in after hours, take the ceilings down, bring power in, drill a hole through their ceiling up into our floor, and then someplace bring in a power that will whip into the spine here to bring them power. So what I'm trying to do here is visually, I'm just trying to get everything equal. So this is equal to that, and this is equal more or less to that. So I'm just kind of doing this visually. What else? I've got a 6-pack over here. Over here, I'm not going to do all of these here, but here I've got some lateral files and some tables here. So these are lateral files, just file storage here. And then attached to it is, I guess, these are probably low lateral files. And then there is a work surface on top of it. And that work surface probably extends out here so that people can sit on this end of it. And then you can spread out, papers or sort stuff here. But I do want to bring this close to the column here, so I can have some outlets here, and you can plug in your your laptop. This might actually whip into this, go up the leg, and in the underside of the table here could have outlets right flush in the table. You may have seen that before, so you can have your laptop and plug right in. And let's look at this video conferencing area here. And what I don't need to see for my furniture here is I don't need to see these dimensions. So I'm going to freeze these dimensions. And I'm going to go over to my little freeze button right here that's underneath that layer drop down. And I'll just click on these dimensions here to freeze them. And I will also freeze these. Just don't need to see them, right? This is the furniture plan. There's no reason that the furniture dealer wants to see the length of these walls. I mean, maybe they might, but not really. All right, so I've got a video conferencing that is going to go right here. So let me see if I can find that. Here it is, video conferencing. And I don't know, maybe I'll just go there, and And this time, even this, I'm just gonna keep it, just an inch or so away from the wall. Don't want to show it right on the wall. And then I have some lounge seating here. So you may have additional people here that are going to want to look at, be involved in in this video conference here. So we're going to have some curved seating over here. So let me move this out of the way for a moment here. Let me draw some guidelines for myself. So I'm just gonna go right here to the midpoint of that table, and with I've got my look at that angle. So I'm right on the correct angle, and then I'm going to move this to there, and then I'm going to rotate it. So I don't know if we've talked about, oh, you know what? So there's some little nodes here, and I'm going to use those nodes as a start. No, and you know what I'm going to do? I think here's what I'm going to expand this a little bit. I'm going to go over that line on purpose. You'll see in a minute. All right, so I want to align this this curved seating piece with this guideline that I drew. So how do I do that? Well, I'm going to use the rotate tool, and I'll select the chair or the bench seating or sofa, and I'm done selecting objects. So I hit my space bar, and for my base point, I'm going to choose this intersection right here. So I purposely made the sofa go over this line here so that I would have an intersection. There it is, intersection. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here, and I can eyeball this, but I really want to get it exactly straight. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come down here to reference. I'm going to click reference. And it's asking me for the reference angle. So I'll start with that intersection. And then I'm going to pick a point, like the end point of that line. And I'm going to just click on that. I'm going to say this end point needs to align with this guideline. And I'm just going to go to the guideline. And it aligns that exactly with aligns the chair exactly with the guideline. And now I can mirror that chair, and I'll just use this guideline as a mirror line here. Erase source objects this time, or no, I do not want to. I was going to say yes, I don't. And I get rid of the guideline, and there I have it. And the nice thing about this is that it will kind of give some closure to the space as well, right? I don't know if it gives them visual privacy or actual privacy, but you sort of perceive this as a private zone or area. And then if you want to move this, move the whole thing. I don't know, just kind of moving it up a little bit. So it's kind of out of the circulation path. So as you're walking, it's not sticking out. All right. Blah, 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 blah. I've got a great big conference room over here, and that also has an 8-foot table. And hey, you know what I could do? I mean, you don't have to do this. You could draw it again, but I'm gonna select this, and boom, done. Right? What else? I've got a credenza in here, and it looks like from the handout that it is aligning with the corner of this window here. So I'll just go with my line tool here. This comes straight perpendicular. And of course, this is credenza, it's millwork, it's not furniture. So I want to make sure that it's on the correct layer. So I'm just using match properties right here. All right, what else have I got? I have some shelving that is in here. It's 18 feet long now, and it runs all the way from here to here. And my instinct would be to use offset, to take this line and offset it 18 inches. But I'm not going to be able to do that because as soon as I select this, you can see the little do not enter. No, it's telling me no, Paul, you cannot do that. And when I click on it, it's just not cooperating with me. And that's because this line is an XREF, right? It's not in the drawing. So what I've got to do is I'll just go to my line tool and I'll just come over here and O track down 18 inches. And then I'll just go straight across, find that perpendicular. And I can't, but I can trim here. So I can trim that. And once again, this is on the wrong layer. So this time what I'll do is rather than use match properties, I'll just select those two lines and then just go to my drop down, find a millwork, a mill, put them on there. What else? I've got an 18-foot long countertop over here. And that countertop is, generally speaking, countertops are, let me just zoom in here. Yeah. So, and generally speaking, a countertop is 2 feet, 2 feet deep. So I'm just gonna, what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna draw a line 2 feet. And then I'm just gonna go perpendicular. You know, that line, so that line is wonky, right? I didn't draw that correctly. So, so let's draw it right. There we go, 2 feet. And that 2-foot line is actually a guideline. I'm going to go perpendicular. The line I'm really concerned about or interested in is this one. So now I need to draw this 18 feet long. So I'm just going to start here and I'm just going to go down 18 feet and then go perpendicular. And I don't need that guideline either. And then put this, I'll use match properties here. I personally find match properties faster, but whatever makes you happy. Alrighty, moving on. I've got some training room here. Big old training room, and it's got some tables that are 2 foot by 5 feet. So I think I'll use a rectangle here. Somehow I went to hatch. Rectangle. 5 feet. Tab, 2 feet. Is it 2 feet? Yeah, 2 by 5. And let me go again back to Project 10 furniture blocks. And just this generic chair, this general chair here, I'm going to put that here. I'm not going to rotate this. And I'll just do a mirror image of it. Okay, so there's my one table. And then I'm just going to rotate this whole thing. About 27 degrees. And I want to copy. I've got 3 tables next to each other. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the one that's near this corner over here. So I've got it close to, but not on that corner. I'm just eyeballing it. And then the spacing for these is 5 feet on center. So I'll have a row back here 5 feet, and then another row 10 feet, or another 5 feet, and then I've got 5 feet this way and 5 feet that way. So let me just copy all of this, and I'll just go up 5 feet, and I'll go 5 feet in this direction, and then I'll copy. I could have done 10 feet, but I wasn't thinking. And then I'll just copy here to here, another 5 feet. I'll copy this one. To there. So I just want to make sure that I have, let me go to distance here, from like the corner, the front corner of one row of tables to the front corner of the next row of tables is indeed 5 feet. That's what I'm looking for. And what else? There's a credenza back here. And it's 2 feet long. So again, this time I think what I'll do is I'll O-track back to there, and then left click and then start my line 2 feet. Then come straight across, perpendicular there. And I personally think that this is wonky. I wouldn't do that. In fact, I think I'm gonna trim this. So what I would have done if I were the designer here, well, I'll leave it because that's the way the designer did it. But if I were the designer, what I would have done is, you know how we like box this out with some walls? I would have put some walls around this column, just box it out this way so that, this would have butted up, because now you've got like this weird wet. I mean, maybe that looks cool. To me, that looks like a place to have dust collect. I don't know. And then there's a 6-inch media wall over here that's running the full length. So a media wall, it's got a TV in it, and it's got chalkboard and all of that cool stuff. So I'm just going to put that in. And all I did was I went pretty quick here. I started in the corner. I O-tracked over 6 inches and then just drew that line straight across. All right. Break room. I've got some chairs in here. I'll do one of them here. Circle. This is a 4-foot radius table. So, sorry, 4-foot diameter table. So that would be 2-foot radius. And I'm just going to, again, put this generic chair, the small chair here. I think I'm going to put it in. And then let me move it straight up. I'll put my ortho on here so I'm getting exactly straight up. And then array this. And by the way, I'm going to make this 4 items. What I did for the conference tables was I did not have this associative button checked. For whatever reason, before class here, I was using it and I had that unchecked, but I'm going to check it now and then close the array. So what that associative button does is it connects all of these chairs so that they're all connected together. In this case, each of my chairs is separate from each other. So when that associative button, let me just double click on the array here again, just so you can see it. Oh, I guess it's a different it's a different menu, but that associative button there, when that's checked, that will keep all of my array items together. So I think that I'm gonna also I think I'm also going to rotate this array a little bit because it's a little bit off. It's not on the angle of the room. And I'm just going to just rotate it like that. I think that's a little more better in the room. And then, I don't know, this is in the corner. And then there's another one over here. More or less like that. Oops, I moved it rather than copied it, right? So let's copy it. And then I've got two more over here. And another one over here, blah, 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 blah. I've got some cabinets running along here that are 2 feet. So let me just come straight out 2 feet. Generally speaking, cabinets are 2 feet deep. Not always, but frequently. Put my ortho on. And then 2 feet from along here. I've got I'll start over here, come up 2 feet, and then go, I don't know, to here more or less. I believe there's a refrigerator in there, or there is a refrigerator in your 2D block someplace here, there, and just plop that in that corner. And plop in a sink as well. You know what? Let me put the sink in because I want to make sure that the sink is on the right layer. So let's see, kitchen. And then if I go to sinks and faucets, hit open, that looks like a 30-inch sink. So I'm just going to plop that in right at the midpoint, rotate it, move it down. I need to put in a faucet right here. Here's a gooseneck faucet in plan. I can plop that in. I'm not going to, but I do want to make sure that it's on the right layer. So I'm going to come down here. It's plumbing. So I'll come down to P fixed, plumbing fixtures, and click on that. So now that is on the right layer. And of course, your faucet also would be on the plumbing fixtures layer. All right, what else do I need to do? I've got some furniture over here. I have a couple sofas. So let me go back to my office furniture. I think it's in this office fixtures, I think. No, I've lost it again. Oh, Project 10 furniture blocks. And yeah, I got a nice little sofa here, and I'm going to put that in. All right, I'm on ortho. I want to get off of ortho and onto polar. So click on polar tracking, put in that, and I've got a 48 by 24 coffee table. So I'm using the rectangle tool, 48, tab 24, and then rotate it. Boom, saw, perfect. And I got a big area rug that is 10 feet by 14 feet. So again, I'll just use the rectangle tool, 10 feet wide by 14 feet high. Rotate it on that 27 degrees. And now let's put this into place here. And just so everything is exactly the same, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mirror this one, and I'll just use the coffee table here as my as my mirror line. And I got to copy it down. Something like that. Oh my goodness. That's the second time I've done that. All right. So let's talk about, oh, you know what? Let's do the Brody chairs because those are fun. Again, let me go to Office. Let's see. I go up, click on Office, click Open. Here it is. So I'm going to plop one down more or less here. And then I'll copy it up, put my ortho on. So I'm going straight up. And then I'm going to mirror it, and I'll mirror it right. I have it sort of centered. I'm going to have this four chair arrangement centered right, midway between these two columns. So right at the midpoint of this mullion here. So let me just mirror these two chairs right on that midpoint. Lovely. And then I'll either do the same thing, but I'm going to want it exactly the same. So I'm just going to copy it. I hope I'm copying and not moving from that midpoint to the midpoint of that bay. And if it were me, I'd probably put a plant here, or I'd put a credenza here with a piece of artwork on it, some sculpture or vase or flowers. If you want to do that, you're more than welcome. All right. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the reception desk, I think, because that is, I think, our last thing of any real complexity. And this isn't all that complex. So, all right, so we've got a reception desk. It is 3 feet off of the back wall of the closet. So the receptionist, he can or she can come in this way and then sit down at the desk. It's an L-shaped desk that is overall 5 feet by 12'6", and it's got a curved corner, and we'll deal with that. But first, we're going to get the L shape, the actual L shape in, and then we'll come back and fix this corner. And it is a total of 3 feet deep on both legs of the L. And then there is a transaction top that runs the full length of the desk. And you probably know what a transaction top is. You go to a reception area and there's a sort of a high table or a high ledge. Usually they're 12 inches deep, as this is. And it's a place where you can sign in or, write a check or give a credit card or whatever it is that you need to do. And this is lower back here because it's at sitting height. So that person would be working back here. So that's our reception desk. So let's put this on my other screen and let's draw it up. Okay, so I'll start with my line tool, and I want to make sure that I'm back on my polar tracking. And I'll start at this corner and come down 3 feet. And the L shape is 5 feet. That leg of it is 5 feet, and then the other leg of it is 12'6". 12'6". And then it comes back 3 feet in this direction. And then it comes back, I don't know, some length. I'm just going to go to here, and then I'll use fillet to connect the dots. So then this comes out 3 feet. And then this comes down, and now I'll just fillet. There we go. There it is. Now I do need to curve this corner, and it is at a 36-inch radius. And if you remember back from CAD 1, I think we did this. If I go to fillet, one of the options is radius. I can fill it with a radius. If I click on radius down here, it will ask me what my radius is. And right now it's set to 0. 0 gives me sharp, crisp corners. So I will change that radius to 3 feet or 36 inches. And then I'll select that line, and voila, we've got it. Now, if I later on, I want to be drawing some other lines, whatever they are, and I want to fillet them, it's going to fillet that radius, that 3-foot radius, that 36-inch radius. So I always make it a habit, after I do a fillet with a radius, I go back into the fillet tool and I go back into radius and I set my radius. My radius is set to 3 feet. I set it to 0. Just kind of like make it a habit to do. I know it's kind of ponderous and annoying to do it, but then later on, you won't have corners that are curved when you're filleting. So just wanted to show you that. And then I've got a transaction top. That transaction top's 12 inches. So I'm just going to use offset. 12 inches. Offset this line. Offset the curve. Offset this line. And I think I'm golden. The only thing that's wrong is it's on the wrong layer. So I'll put it on millwork because this is not furniture. This is millwork. And I want to give them a chair. Do I have a chair someplace on here? Not really. So, all right, let me go back to Project 10 furniture blocks. Executive chair. And of course, the chair is not millwork, right? It's a piece of furniture. So it does belong on the furniture layer and not the millwork layer. Don't make that mistake because chairs are not millwork. All right. So that looks great. I mean, clearly it's not finished. And let's see, what else do I need to do the corners back here? Let me see. I've got over here, I have some millwork running around, and it looks like I'm not really given a dimension of how far it is from this door, but as a rule, I like to keep it at least a foot away. So I'm gonna use my line. Let me go onto my furniture layer. I mean, onto my millwork layer here. Go to my line tool here, and I'm going line tool. I'm going to O-track down. Let me put my ortho on. O-track straight down. Let me check my tracking settings here. Well, it's set to all angles, but it's not cooperating with me tonight. So, all right, I will just do it this way. I'll go. Well, I am polar. Let me go. Okay, let me go to polar track. Maybe that was the problem. No, that shouldn't be the problem. All right, let me go to. Okay, guys, I no longer can draw straight lines. 12 inches. Nope, it's not. This is not cooperating with me at all. Why not? I have nearest checked? No. I do have that turned on. So I'm doing something silly here that is not cooperating with me. All right, so now I'm drawing a line straight down, so I'm just going to draw the line, and then I'll come out 25 inches. It's asking for this to be 25 and go up 25. Okay, I'm seeing some dumb thing that I'm not doing. And oh, my object accept tracking is off. So that would do it. Okay, let's do it this way. I'm going to offset 25 inches. There are a lot of ways to skin a cat. And if this is not going to cooperate with me, I'm going to force it to. All right. Fill it. So it happens to the best of us. Sometimes it just won't cooperate with you. And you got to do what you know to make it work. There we go. This is also in this room, it says it's 18 inches deep. So I think what I'll do here is, I think it starts here. 18. Let me come down 18 inches. Hey, you know what I'm going to do? Okay, I'm going to do something completely different. So I'm going to just draw lines. I'm tracing along here. Along the walls. And then, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to offset 18 inches. And this will totally work. Of course, I got to erase the lines that are against the wall. And then I'll just clean this up by adding a little line there, and then trim or fillet these corners. Okay. So I embarrassed myself by doing this one wonky, but I think you got the idea. Oh, you know what? There should be a hat shelf in here. So, or a coat rod or hat shelf, and that should just go right from the midpoint straight across. All right. So there is my furniture plan on my furniture plan file. And I'm going to save this. So I've been playing furniture dealer all evening here, right? Now I'm putting back on my designer cap, and I'm going to go back to my office plan. So my office plan here is just got partitions, doors, all the stuff that we did before. And my furniture vendor, or the person in my office who's been laying out the furniture, says to me, "Hey, Paul, I've got the furniture ready. You want it?" And I'll say, "Yeah, sure, give it to me." So then they give me the file. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to XREF it into my office plan. So first thing to do is go to my layer properties and create an XREF layer. New layer, and I'm going to call this XREF. And we're bringing in the furniture plan, so I'm going to call this furniture. Set that to my current layer. Close this. There's my XREF furniture. And now I will attach. So I'm just going to type attach. And there it is, my furniture plan. And I am going to open it. And I get this. Now, remember that this furniture plan has this office plan XREF'd into it, if you remember. And now we are in the office plan, and we're going to XREF in the furniture plan that has our office plan included into it. So that is weird. So if I hit OK here, I get an alert, and it's telling me that I've got circular references. And that's what a circular reference is. The furniture plan has the office plan XREF'd into it. And I am XREFing the furniture plan into my office plan that already has a furniture plan XREF'd into it. So I am getting this alert, and it's asking me to continue, and I can. It just sort of ignores it. But let me show you the proper way to do it. Let me go to attach, furniture plan, open. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to click overlay. What overlay will do is it will XREF in my furniture, but not the XREF, not the furniture plan, all the line work, the furniture plan. And I'll just hit OK. Oh, I guess it still says circular references, but I'll say yes. And boink, there is all of my furniture. It's been pulled into my floor plan. Lovely. And I've got unreconciled new layers because all of those furniture plan layers are unreconciled. So I need to reconcile them. So I'll just click on View Unreconciled Layers, and there they are. And all of these layers say Paul Gongola Furniture Plan, and then all of the layer names. So I'm just going to select them all. I'll just pick the top one and then hold Shift, pick the bottom one, and then right click and reconcile layers. So there they are. I don't need them there, but there they all are. This is all my furniture plan layers. And there is my furniture plan. So now let's create a new sheet. I got my partition plan, and I'm just going to make a copy of it. So I'm going to go to Move or Copy, move to the end of the list here, create a copy, hit OK. And now I've got a partition plan too, but I'm going to call this furniture plan. So right click on it, rename it, and I will call this furniture plan. And while I'm at it, let's just update the title block. So I've got partition plan. I'll call this furniture. Change my sheet number to 3. Okay. So let's see what I've got my furniture on here. I know it's not complete because I never finished the furniture plan, but furniture's there, and I have some dimensions here. So now we're going to be playing, layer management. So I'm going to go into white model space. I'll just double click within the viewport or click on the little paper button here. And I know I'm in model space because my viewport is highlighted. I see this UCS icon. So I am, and it also says model down here. So I know I'm in white model space. I'll click on my little freeze button and I'm going to freeze my dimensions because I don't need to see them on my furniture plan. And if I do have dimensions, they're going to be dimensions that are related directly to the furniture if I want to locate this stuff exactly. Which ultimately at the very end of the at the end of the project I probably will. Okay, so my furniture plan looks pretty good here. Let's look at the partition plan. So the partition plan is showing furniture on it, isn't it? So what I want to do, and it's showing also the millwork as well. So there's a couple layers here, but what I'm going to do instead of just selecting the I fern layer and the A mill layer, millwork and furniture, what I'm going to do is I'm going to freeze the entire XREF. So I'll go into white model space. This time I'll just double click. I'm in white model space now. And I'm going to just go down here. And there is my XREF furniture layer. And I will click this button here. This is to freeze in the current viewport. And what that does is it freezes the entire XREF. And that is perfect. So the contractor, when they are building the space out, they need to know where the walls are, and this is showing them the walls. In the furniture plan, they don't need the dimensions that the contractor needed for the floor for the walls. They need the locations of the furniture. So this is showing them where the furniture is. Let's look at our building shell. Oops, building shell is showing furniture, and it's also showing millwork as well. So again, let's freeze the XREF layer. So I'll just double click within the viewport. There's my XREF furniture, and I think I can probably just do it right from here. I'll just click on it. I'll do it the right way. And then click freeze or thaw in current viewport. And now I'm just going to zoom extents, Z, enter, E, enter. And that just zooms up my image so it fills my screen. So there is my lovely building shell. I'll zoom out, go into paper space, zoom, enter, E, E for extents, enter. There is my lovely partition plan. And last but not least, I'll zoom extents again, zoom, enter, E, enter. And there is my furniture plan.